2, 1.
What's up, guys? It's Dustin, aka the Caramel Kid. Today I have with me Terrence, I have Evan, I got Leo, and I got Marcus, and all their AKAs. The Puerto Rican Pitbull, Blactimus Prime, Leo. Just kidding. I gotta work on it for everybody else. But today we will be talking. Before that, comment, like, subscribe, all that stuff. We appreciate you guys. Share it if you like what we're talking about. And today we are going to go into glute training for guys, because we live in an era of 2x4s. All right, and that's not just the guys too. Some of the ladies, but guys in glute training. And then we're gonna go into a little bit of college football and the future for the players, and if we'll see it this year. So, yeah, I'll let Marcus go ahead and take over for the glute training, because I know it was a comment from one of his stories.
Yeah, so I posted up the other day on my Instagram one of my clients doing a single leg hip bridge. After that, I got a couple comments, and one of them stood out. Was this one lady told me, like, that she was happy that I was doing that with my male client, and because she was like, for some reason, every time she tries to get her male clients to do a glute bridge, they just seem to like give her like negative feedback. Say like they didn't want to do it. They just didn't find a point about doing it. And then me and her got to talking. I was like, well, a glute bridge for a guy is just as important as it will be for a female. It's great for developing strength in your hamstrings. At the same time, it actually helps your squat and your deadlift. That helps build, the muscle in that region, considering that a lot of people don't work on a lot of hamstring work in general. And if you're an athlete, I think working, single leg hip bridges is important, so that, you can strengthen your hamstring so that you don't tear it. While Evan's over here eating and swatting flies.
My fault. You don't have to look at me. Like, why don't you just continue the conversation? Just let me swat my flies and eat my food.
Bad food.
Well, that's all I got.
It blows my mind if you're a guy and you don't do single leg glute bridges at least some part in the week. Like for me, if I don't do them, especially on my left leg, like my lower back will engage on any squats or deadlift before my leg. So it's like, as soon as I learned that my glute was misfiring, I do them for like 3 sets of 15 to 20 to start off the lift, and then my deadlifts are just 10 times better. My squats are just 10 times better. The pain in my lower left back is just pretty much gone away. So I think like a lot of lower back problems, especially guys probably have it more than girls do, doing those glute bridges and doing them single leg to figure out, all right, which glute is not firing is like up there in priority as far as your workouts get structured like.
Yeah, I think, well, I usually tell my clients, like, a strong glute equals a strong body. And I think the negative connotation of just like glute bridges in general, that's a woman exercise or whatever like that, because we see women do it all the time. But it's just not like that. I mean, we need it too. It helps with our lockout. It helps with our squat. It helps with everything. It makes us healthy in general, because, I mean, a strong glute protects from low back pain. Because a lot of times when people have low back pain, it's because they have weak glutes. Same thing with the hamstring. It kind of leads up and down. But I mean, it doesn't even have to be a single leg bridge. Like I've incorporated into my program a lot of times, like if I just want to do that as an accessory. But like, I mean, single leg, like a split stance RDL, or like a single leg anything to kind of engage that glute a little bit more, like does anything. Or like put the foot on the bench, your feet elevated, hip extension. So I mean, you don't even have to call it glute bridge, call it a hip extension, and watch guys kind of be like, oh, like that's different, but it's exactly the same thing. I mean, I think the problem is the way that people are coaching it. They're like, hey, I need you to do these hip bridges. Oh, that's I don't want to do that. It's weird, whatever like that. You have to kind of tell them, be like, hey, strong glutes, like, we'll help you with a squat, we'll help you with a bench. I mean, with the bench, with the deadlift and everything. I mean, if you don't want low back pain, do it. I mean,
Bigger
But-
ass, better athlete.
Exactly. You know what I mean? The bigger the ass, the faster you are. It's crazy. It's crazy how that works out. Like you see sprinters, like their asses and their legs are fucking huge, and they're fast as hell. You know what I mean? So it's like bam, 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 bam. You know what I mean? It's like it's crazy. So
I see what you should be watching when
What?
you're alone. I see what you should be watching when you're alone now.
yeah, I watch track athletes sprinting from behind.
you watch.
That's
You
what I
watch the
do.
men. You watch the men. You watch the men track
No, I
athletes.
don't watch the one. No, I don't. Like, oh, good note. Strong glute,
Nah,
strong glute,
Leo.
blah, blah, blah.
Leo,
No,
he
get out
doesn't
of
do
here.
that. He'll go bam, bam, bam. That's what he does.
I go on my computer screen, I'll just do that on my computer screen. No, but yeah, no, I think any kind of single leg movement will do the job. It doesn't need to be just single leg hip extension or glute bridge or whatever like that. So I'm thinking like, what other? I mean, is she just worried about that movement, or like, does she know how to like transfer it over to a different movement that does the same thing? Like, what is?
No, she knows how to transfer it over, but like most times if you want to add a hip extension or a glute bridge into a program, like certain, but a lot of men, they will be like, no, like I don't want to do that. Like they don't see a need for it because they think that it's like a female exercise. But in reality, like I incorporated them, and yeah, like you definitely feel the difference where like you feel like your hamstrings are just that much stronger, your glutes are stronger, so that when you're trying to lock out, it feels like the weight is like literally just shooting back up from from that bucket. But it's like the era now. Like a lot of men don't want to do it as much because you see a lot of women doing it. You know what I mean? So that's why like a lot of gyms start incorporating like that booty blaster machine. I don't know what the real name is, but you see a lot of gyms incorporating that, and who takes over those machines is a lot of women.
I mean, Brent Contreras. If you don't know the name Brent Contreras, the glute guy, glute lab, and all that stuff, man, the dude is fucking strong as shit. He hip bridges like 500, 600 pounds. You know what I mean? James Harrison the other day, like fucking, well, not the other day, like a couple years ago, like fucking hip bridge 1,000 pounds. You know what I mean? It transfers over to everything else they do. Yeah, it doesn't have to be the end all be all. And hip bridge, like, I mean, I wouldn't be like, oh, what do you hip bridge? You know what I mean? It's not the end all be all, but I mean, it's going to help with everything else. I think
I look at the hip bridge being like the equivalent of women saying that if they lift weights, they'll get too bulky. For a guy saying it's a female exercise and I want to do it, but only a selective amount of people, like guys, actually do it. It's like the same way of like you actually see a selective amount of women actually willing to like lift. You know what I mean? Because they understand that I won't get bulky, or this is not a female exercise. Because you put two plates, even though they try to do 2 plates, it feels uncomfortable, and it's like it's tough. 3 plates gets even harder. It's like it is one very hard exercise to do, and like you definitely see the difference when you're using it, prior to your squat or after your squat. Like your glutes are just engaged like there's no tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you what, with a lot of guys who would never do that or don't want to do that because they say it's for like a girls or whatever, they suck at it, so they don't want to suck at it, and they definitely don't want to suck at something that is you're literally humping the air. So them humping the air, and they suck at it, and they got all these women looking at them, and all these women are probably thinking, wow, if you suck at that, then you probably suck at what that translates to. So I can definitely see like a lot of guys not doing that for ego reasons.
Got no motion in the ocean.
Nope. Mm-mm.
No motion in the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But kind of bringing it back too, you can also use the single leg glute bridge as like, we use it for warm ups a lot with some of the athletes, but you can also use it as like, teaching. If somebody can't hinge, I mean, the glute bridge is the most basic form of a hinge that you have right there. So you can use it as a teaching method, and then also if a guy doesn't want to do it as an actual exercise, don't say, hey, we're going to do this, or we have this many sets of glute bridges, use it as a mobility exercise. Because I mean, most of the time, not just the guys, everybody, we spend so much time sitting down and like, kind of for some of the athletes in a power position, that those hip flexors are super, super active. and some of them can't even get into that extension position with their hips without, compensating through the ribs and all that stuff. So,
yeah.
I think people should just be open-minded to training too.
Exactly.
Like I think sometimes, like just even if it is a someone called a girl exercise, if the shit works, do it. And you don't know that if you don't really open your brain to try different exercises.
For sure.
So at the end of the day, hip extension is a glute bridge, and your glutes are gonna control your hip extension.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
like just change your mind, open your brain up to some different exercises, and stop doing the same shit over and over, and then maybe you'll actually start seeing some progress in some of the things you're doing. I just started doing barbell bridges with one of my male clients recently, and his activation on his squats and his glute activation in his squats have been so much different. And this is not even like going crazy heavy on weight, just practicing tempos, holding a couple squeezes, and like I'm literally watching how his squat is transforming right in front of his eyes. But I'm like, I told him, I was like, don't look at it like it's a girl exercise. Like just look at it like it's a glute exercise.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a girl exercise, it's just a fucking exercise at the end of the day.
It is.
I think sometimes we want to try to label certain things like, oh, this is only for girls. And I'm like, dude, get on the fucking abductor machine and squeeze them shits out, because you're going to help your knee stability when you're going into your squats and your deadlifts and shit like that.
Oh, that's another machine.
Yeah.
That's another machine.
I think the only reason that machine is a women machine is because, like, if you make eye contact with it, that's a DTF machine.
Yeah, you can't do that. Just don't look at it.
You can't do that. You can't do it. I think that also needs to be a warning on that thing, because people don't understand. People will just be like looking at you on the machine.
No.
Eyes everywhere. Type shit. No, you look straight, or you look at your knees, bro. Like, no, you need to stop. But no, I agree with Terrence. I think it's the kind of thing where, like, if people are kind of towards that, we're like, oh, it's a women exercise. They're the type of people that are weak because they don't try anything. Or there's a person that's always injured because they're afraid to do those kind of things that actually help them. So it's kind of changing their mindset with all these movements, with the adductors and the abductors and like these glute bridges. They're not women exercises, man. Like some of the strongest people in the world fucking do it. It's the same thing as people that just go into the gym and rep out 225 without a warm up. You have some of these strongest benches, strongest deadlifters, strongest squatters, and like Olympic lifters warm up with the barbell. Do you know why they do it? Like, and they're fucking strong as shit. And you walk in and you do 25 and you think you're tough? Nah, get out of here. You know what I'm saying? So I think we just need to try to change the culture with it. Like it's important for everybody. I mean, it's about injury prevention. It's about health. It's about strength of the full body. And it really starts with the glutes, because that's really the strongest thing. You want to be faster, you want to be stronger. Even in a bench press, strengthen your glutes and watch everything skyrocket. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, you ever get that hamstring or glute cramp during
Oh my God, on the bench? Like why? Yeah, I mean, like right next to, like right behind my knee, I get it all the time. Like I get like that real cramp, like in my hamstring when I bench. I suck. But yeah, no.
And don't get it twisted. A lot of these girls are stronger than some men at the glute bridges. Just put that there. I know some chicks repping on some serious shit on the glute bridges.
Oh yeah.
Yep. And then at the end of the day, nice glutes are nice glutes. Guys and girls, they like nice glutes on the,
peach
opposite end, so.
Well, you gotta make it awkward. You like had that long pause. Like yeah. Nah, but it's true, man. Strong ass like tells it all, man. And isn't it a fact that like women with bigger butts, or, like stronger glutes, have smarter kids or some shit like that? I don't know who started that study, but like I saw it and I was interested in it.
They have smaller what?
They have a bigger ass, bigger ass like this. They give birth to smarter kids. I don't know how that transfers, but
you read some sick ass studies, Evan.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have a lot going on. Okay, I don't have a lot going on.
Who's your reference?
I don't know.
If it's,
I'm gonna need you
I
to
don't know.
cite that.
I found out Google Scholar. I don't know. So it looks like a real study. If it's on Google Scholar, it's a real study.
You're all right.
Okay.
All right, let's move it on a little bit.
But
We're gonna put it in the
all right.
link. I'm right. I'm putting in the link.
But all right, let's go ahead and shift the conversation to college football, and I'm gonna let Evan kind of take it after he finishes biting that piece of chicken after he got all the flies off of it.
Why? Okay. Anyway, if college football isn't happening this year, 2020 is officially the worst year of anybody's fucking life. Okay? So, I honestly do. So, the real conversation before this bullshit, do you think it's really worth having a college football season for these kids and for everybody in this kind of pandemic that we're in? My opinion, I think we should honestly hold off. Even though I am saying that we should obviously have a college football season, if we rush into it and we start having college football and I get a taste of it and then we have to pull back, I'm gonna get even madder.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think we should prioritize the safety of these kids more than anything else. And maybe what's gonna happen is they're gonna give these kids another year anyway to kind of be another year eligible, give them all a red shirt and move them on. You know what I mean? So they're able to have all 4 years or as many years as they have left. I mean, that's the only thing that's fair. But you see with baseball going on, like all this traveling and everybody doing some stupid shit. They're postponing games. They're canceling games. You know what I mean? Like, if one person gets it, the whole team has to get quarantined and then they don't play for a week. You can't have that. You can't have that football.
Hold on, but here's the question though. So if you're telling these kids that they can't have the season, but they still have to go to school that year.
Oh, I don't think they should go to school.
I'm saying, so you're telling all the athletes to not go to school for 1 full year until the season starts.
I mean, I didn't think about it like that, but I mean,
I'm thinking more about Trevor Lawrence. If you don't know, is a Clemson quarterback. If you watch any college football, you should know that. But he made a great point where he's not worried about himself per se and people who come from very good backgrounds. He's worried about the kid who came from the Fifth Ward and got a full ride out of the hood, who has colleges paid for. He's got great coaches who are father figures to him. He's got a set routine. He goes to school. He plays ball. He gets free food. His health care is covered. You're basically telling that kid, all right, you still got to go to school. You still have to be around the exact same amount of number of people as you would, but you can't play football this year. You also won't be able to get your full benefits, health-wise, if you were to get sick, and you're not going to be getting the same kind of room and board as you were if we were in full season because you're not actually playing. Most of the time, a kid from that kind of background is going to be
fuck that.
I'm gonna goof around, I'm fuck around and lose my scholarship, or I'm just not gonna go to class, or a lot of those kids, you just completely lose their motivation to go to school.
That's the biggest thing because if everybody watched the Netflix special, I think it was Last You.
Yeah, too. That was the best season by far, by the way.
100%, but they're postponing to 2021. That whole season is postponed to next year.
Yeah.
That means that 2020, 2021 season is gone. That's insane. You have all these kids who are literally just trying to make it out of a junior college, trying to make it to a D1, D2 school, and now they're just sitting there unable to showcase their talent.
Yeah.
And they're just screwed for a year. That's crazy.
Yeah, that is tough. I mean,
yeah, that's the biggest thing with this. People are looking at, and I won't downplay the virus by any means, but if someone were to get the virus, the best bet of beating it would be some highest level athletes on the planet.
Yeah, for sure.
Don't want to downplay it at all. Don't get me wrong, but if anybody is gonna be not affected by it, it's gonna be the majority, 99% of these kids who are D1.
The 1%ers.
Yeah. So
that's fair.
The fans in the stands, I can understand not doing that. I get that. I think which NFL? I think the Eagles aren't having fans in their stands for the NFL.
Yeah, I think so.
I just saw another team too isn't having fans. I don't think the Raiders are having fans.
a lot of places are not going to have fans, fans in the
Yeah.
stands. But the biggest thing is like how many people are opting out this year. You know what I mean? Because of
I
the
mean,
fact is that like there's a lot of people starting to opt out from the season, not only because they want to they want to protect themselves, but like a lot of these people have brand new brand new kids, or like they have instances where they're living with their parents, like they have their parents living with them, like so they factor in like family, like you know the effects of what can do to your own family. You know what I mean? Like that's the crazy part. Like the Patriots had 7 people opt out, and then people are still opting out left and right.
yeah.
That's a whole conspiracy theory though with Bill Belichick. I don't get it. I think he's
Yeah.
forcing it out.
I think, but like, I get all this. I think it's really tough. I think, I think the only way that they can do it is number one, not have any fans in any stands whatsoever. Just let the kids play. I think it's important to let the kids play. 100%. Like, I think if we're gonna have a season, we let the kids play. They travel. They stay all in one hotel or something like that. They separate themselves and they play fucking football. And that's literally it. Go to school online. And I don't understand how school's gonna work out. Or that's a whole nother story. But yeah, I think they need to showcase their talents. I think they all need to play. But I mean, if some teams, like some of the lesser teams, like, you heard UConn football is like opting out of the entire season. Nobody gave a shit because UConn football sucks anyway. So but like if you get like a SEC school that pops out, like there's something going on. So I think the only way to really do it is do it the way that they're doing is like let the SEC schools play together and have like a couple out of conference schedules.
Yeah,
Or like
think about it this way: if you have a school opting out for a full year, what if you had, a true freshman who played lights out, and he was like, I'm gonna come back one more year to showcase my talents because I don't have enough film. If the NFL doesn't really know who I am, so like this is like their year to like really showcase their skills, and then get drafted. Now you telling them like, yeah, you can't do that for another year. So like now that a kid has lost a year, you know what I mean? Like say I'm going
oh yeah.
to maybe going to the NFL like in 2 years. Now you have to like after a year, you have to go
Yeah.
after 2 years or 3 years now. So
But that's you gotta think that's probably not the coach's like thought process. Like the head coach isn't like we're just not gonna play this year. It's probably higher above like somebody that's not thinking about all that stuff. Yeah, like I believe what you're saying. Like I think all schools should kind of let these kids play especially like they're all gonna transfer out. They're gonna have to transfer out if the whole other fucking league is playing and stuff like that. They're gonna transfer out because they need to play because they need those minutes and those in that film and stuff like that for the NFL. But you gotta think like the people that are opting out and the people that are canceling their football season even before it starts, like it's not the coaches. The coaches aren't like let's cancel the fucking season and stuff like that. It's higher up. It's like the president or whatever like that making that decision. So you can't really think about it like the coach was like fuck them, like we're not gonna let any of these kids play. It's not his choice, unfortunately. So
do you put an asterisk next to this, whoever wins the championship? Do you put an asterisk now next to the title?
Bro, I think if any of the Power 5 schools conferences do sit out, because I saw the Big Ten made that vote, but it hasn't been finalized yet, so it could easily reverse. But yeah, I think if any of those Power 5 conferences don't play, then you have to put an asterisk next to it.
yeah,
It's like if LSU were to win again, but Ohio State doesn't play, you know damn well all they're going to talk about is Ohio State had this team.
yeah, for real. Fucking people who fucking like Ohio State always say some shit anyway. It don't matter.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think this whole season needs to be an asterisk anyway. If people are opting out, if a team has to be quarantined for like a week or something like that and has to postpone the game, like that's just gonna happen. I think we're just gonna have to be prepared for that, really. That's no avoiding it because you gotta think like, baseball did it multiple times with like the Marlins. They had to like postpone 3 games, come back, and then do it again. So I don't know if we make the season longer.
I don't know, but like the chances of like college kids getting COVID is so strong because like you're surrounded by people.
They're all fucking. They're also all fucking. So.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah,
but
like,
they're surrounded by people nonstop. So like the chances of them getting COVID, you know what I mean, and your games having to be a week apart from each other, so strong.
Yeah, I think. Oh no, you little fucker.
we want to pardon Evan's behavior. He's beating his dog.
Not beating my dog.
Abusing his dog.
It's the third time. The last 30 minutes.
Jesus Christ. And he's not even like he's just peeing like it's nothing, bro.
Well, maybe you should have took him out for a walk then.
At what time?
It's called neglect. It's called
Not
neglect.
neglect. It's not called neglect. I literally just took him out before we called.
Well, clearly you didn't because you wouldn't have peed if you did.
Okay. All right, Marcus. All right, bro. I don't need to hear it, Mom.
You're welcome, my son, my child. No, but just going back on the whole topic of everything. It's gonna be tougher. It's gonna be tough because like I know they're trying to get people to wear like certain type of like face masks and like with their helmets so that way they can play. So that way I don't call for my germs or my spit doesn't fall into like the next other person. Like that's what they're trying to do for like the NFL. So I really do wonder what they plan on doing for college.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Are you talking about the mask that looks like a Halo helmet?
Yeah.
Bro.
They're so cool. They're so cool, bro.
Looks super
You're
cool.
gonna have a bunch of Master Chiefs running around on the field.
Right?
Imagine how many people are gonna pass out. Like try playing in like Arizona or New Mexico, or like Florida, a noon game with that fucking mask on.
I can only imagine. I
mean, you have some people working out in the regular old cloth masks, and they don't even make it 10 minutes before they're like, fuck that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I had a client, and I was the other day. I was like, I know that. Hey, I'm gonna have you jump on an airdyne bike. You can take your mask off. He's like, no, I'm good. I'm gonna be okay. A minute into the airdyne, there was like I was dying. I'm like, bro,
Yeah.
couldn't breathe. Like clearly, like
I wasn't saying it just to say it.
Yeah. He's the dumb one. I would have just took that mask off. Screw that. Anything on the airdyne, man? Mm-mm. Man, I can barely do an airdyne with a mask on. I'm not trying to die.
Mm-hmm.
That right there is a tell, man. He wanted to commit suicide. That's what that was right there. That's a cry for help right there. That's like somebody sitting in the car in the garage with the gas on. Basically the same thing.
Got real dark real quick.
It did. I'm sorry. I'm just so mad he pissed on the ground again. Sorry, I went dark. All right, I'm back. All right. Well, yeah, I mean, college football stuff. Yay, no dog peeing on the ground. Okay. Anyway,
But yeah, I think, if you do have these conferences playing and everything, as the fans, as the coaches, for the players, they're going to have to accept that, games will get canceled, games will get postponed. Like, you won't play everybody. It's just part of what's going on right now. There's going to be a lot of cancellations just because, everybody's so unsure.
Yeah. So I think the whole, like, if we had to give the whole year a motto, it is what it is.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
You played one game this season. It is what it is.
It is what it is. And you say it the way. Yeah, you say it the same way the guy did it in that short video. It is what it is. It's not like it is what it is. It is what it is.
What they're gonna start doing is playing Madden and
Yeah.
Yeah, take it to everybody's quarantined. They can still do it.
I absolutely hated it. I absolutely hated what ESPN was doing on their Instagram by having these playing Call of Duty and all that stuff highlights instead of playing old highlights because they had nothing else going on. It would be crazy if they tried to do that.
They were practicing things.
And they were back in.
That's what they're gonna do. They're gonna do that. They're gonna have live games of people players just playing NCAA against each other. Michigan versus Ohio, and then they're gonna have either that or they're gonna simulate the game and just have the game just broadcasted. This is what the game is going to look like. And not actual live, but
I still
this whole year. You still put money on it?
Put money on
I'm not gonna lie. If that did happen, there'll be a lot more betting happening though.
So much betting. No, ridiculous amount of betting would happen.
Oh yeah.
What you have each player play as themselves.
That'd be the floppiest game.
That would be a very sloppy game.
Look at that! Look at that! Look at that! Look at that! We just came up with $1 million idea.
Or not, or a giant tank of an idea.
Either one. I mean, you don't know until you try, for sure. You never know.
You ever played 2K? 2K. Oh my gosh. Backyard or street? Like in 2K you can play like
backcourt.
Yeah, backcourt. Yeah.
Backcourt. You never played that? You
Well, yeah, you have your whole squad. You have a whole squad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, you know how sloppy this games are? There's only 5 of y'all. Now imagine 11.
That'd be almost impossible.
That's fair. Yeah, that would be impossible. That's fair. That is fair.
Like you got homeboy playing left tackle, just doesn't want to do it no more. Doesn't.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah.
All right. Sounds like a good place to end it. We appreciate you guys for watching. Thank you for all the comments and, giving us something to talk about, something to shit and giggle about, glutes and stuff. Yeah, But thank you. Comment, like, subscribe. We thank you all for watching, and we will see y'all next time.
All right, guys.
Yes.
Have a good one.
Peace.